is Wonderla Holidays, which will be in focus. The managing director joins us now to discuss their numbers. But just to say, put things into perspective, the numbers this time around, the fourth quarter is typically weak for amusement parks, and which is why the stock is down 5% in an otherwise decent market for mid-cap end of things. The revenues grew just 1.1%. The company is slated to open their new park, Bhubaneswar Park, in the next week itself. So a lot of the expenses were brought into this quarter itself, and as a result of which we saw a decline of 16% in the EBITDA, and the net profit declined by about 35% as well. We have the management with us, Arun Chittilapalli, who joins in from Wonderla Holidays. Arun, thank you so much for joining in. Revenue growth this time around in the fourth quarter, understandably weak because of the seasonality. Just wanted your thoughts on what are you penciling in terms of footfalls for FY25? Because in just a few days from now, the Bhubaneswar Park opens.
Thanks for having me on the show. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, we're not expecting big numbers in the fourth quarter. It's traditionally a weak quarter for us. But going into FY25, we are expecting about 10 to 15% growth in footfall, in revenues from our existing parks. But also we have a new park which is opening, in fact, next week. So that should add another. We are expecting between 5 to 5 lakh, around 4 to 5 lakh footfalls in that new project, and so that should augment our revenues for this coming year. And but of course, ARPU will be slightly lower compared to our existing parks.
So just to put things into perspective once again, you said that 10 to 15% is the revenue growth that you will get from your existing parks, and 4 to 5 lakh is the additional footfalls that you will get from Bhubaneswar, right?
Correct.
So what does that mean in terms of overall revenue for the year, including Bhubaneswar, and overall footfalls for the year, including Bhubaneswar?
I think revenues. It's hard to predict right now from the new project because it's a completely new park and we're just opening it out to the public for the first time. But I mean, in terms of footfalls, we are expecting about 5 lakh footfalls, which is like roughly half of what we get from our bigger parks. This is a conservative estimate. Revenues are hard to predict at this point, but we are expecting a good performance. And in fact, our opening weekend at this Bhubaneswar Park is already sold out. And so it's going to be a very exciting year for us.
Okay, all right. Hi, Arun. Good morning and good to see you in. So footfalls, we should pencil in around 40 lakh for the year, at least?
Yeah, I think we are expecting about 5% footfall growth in our existing parks. And plus, you can add about 4 to 5 lakh visitors from our new park. So that's the kind of number that we're looking at.
All right. So approximately 39 lakh, I think, is a fair number to work with. What about ARPU growth? What should it look like for the coming year? And also talking about Bhubaneswar, by when does it break even?
I think we should be able to break even from an EBITDA standpoint from year 1 onwards. But at a PAT level, obviously from year 3 onwards is what we are looking at.
Okay, and ARPU,
in terms
overall
of ARPU growth for this year, we are expecting about 8 to 12% ARPU growth, mostly led by non-ticket spends and slight improvement in our ticket prices as well.
So could you give us a sense of where do the ticketing, non-ticketing mix stand at right now? Because I remember you saying 70-30 right now with a possibility of that moving 5% every year.
That's correct. So we are at 70-30 at this point in terms of ticket to non-ticket spends. We are expecting about 3 to 5% improvement in non-ticket spends. So maybe in 65 to 35 kind of numbers we should be able to hit in the next year or so. We are expecting non-ticket revenues to grow faster than our ticket price, and also in terms of revenues, it should grow at a faster clip.
All right. Arun, the space that you're in itself is, hotting up. And personally as well, I'm going to be visiting a park. It won't be fair for me to comment on it. It'll look like a bit of a push for them. But I wanted to ask you, what about the CAPEX plans going ahead? When does Chennai come on stream? What is the CAPEX you've lined up out there? And at various locations in the country, what is the total CAPEX? And if you could give us the targeted locations as well, next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very busy space for the country with our young demography. and a lot of young people who wanting to go out. Domestic tourism is definitely going to be a big play for our country. We are looking at, right now we have 5 projects, 3 operational, 2 under construction. Obviously, 1 more we're going to open next week. We have another 5 locations at least that we want to get to before 2030, starting with Greater Noida. We want to do something in Ahmedabad. We are looking at Goa. We are looking at maybe something in Maharashtra as well, if things align properly. We are open to doing more projects. These are long gestation projects. It takes time for them to come off the ground. So we are working on them already. Hopefully, we'll be able to give some concrete news. In Indore also, in Madhya Pradesh, is something that we are very closely looking to work at a project there as well.
Final question before we let you go, Arun. 10 to 15% is the revenue growth that you've guided for, along with 5% organic footfall growth in FY25. With the increased expenses and the stores that you plan on opening, the parks that you plan on opening, what is the margin expectation for this year?
The margins might contract a little bit in this year because we have, added overhead expenses, new recruitments, a lot of, extra costs will be coming into the books in this year and probably the next year as well because of new park openings. Slight contraction in margins is what I had told before as well. We can expect that, I think, slight contraction, maybe 3 to 5% contraction in margins, but nothing more than that. And as the new parks ramp up in footfalls and ARPUs, I think that will reverse pretty quickly.
Okay, Arun, wish you well. Exciting space. All the best for the coming year. We look forward to chatting up with you all through the fiscal. For the time being, we need to cut across the CI.